And so that leads me to just another story and really a testimony in addition to the powerful witness that President Zenger shared with us. I served in the Asia Area Presidency in the spring of 2018 when President Nelson became the president of the church. And for 2 years before that, we had been working diligently to try to find a way to make it possible for more of our members in the Asia area, particularly in India, to come and receive their temple ordinances. We had used temple patron assistance funds, and the saints had saved and prepared the best they could. And then some of them would fly to Hong Kong and be turned away and not allowed to enter and come to the temple. So we began to route them to Taiwan, the only 2 temples we had in all of Asia at the time. And at the end of 2017, the number had grown from the number in 2016, who were faithful, tithe-paying Latter-day Saints, but unendowed and not sealed as families. And so in the spring of 2018, we had been considering and pondering and praying about what could be done. As we went to General Conference that April, we met with the Temple Department, we met with the presiding bishopric, we counseled with members of the 12 and the presidency of the 70 that worked with our area, and posed the question, what could we do to enable more of the saints in Asia, particularly in India, to be able to receive the ordinances of the temple? And then, of course, we went to General Conference on that weekend. And you'll remember that here in this first April conference, President Nelson announced 7 temples at the conclusion of the conference. Well, beginning at the end of January, we had been contacted to say President Nelson, he's only been president of the church for a few weeks, to say he would like to travel around the world right after April conference. And so we'd begun to prepare for that trip. And he was going to come to Bengaluru, India, and then on to Bangkok, Thailand, and then to Hong Kong. Sister Funk and I were invited to accompany he and Elder Holland and their wives. So we hear the announcement in General Conference of a temple in Bengaluru. We were overcome with joy and happiness of that wonderful news that was literally an answer to prayers. But what we didn't realize was some of the details related to that. When President Nelson arrived in Bengaluru, we had come earlier to meet him. We had put on the itinerary to try to find a temple site. And when he landed, he said, Elder Funk, how hard will it be to build a temple in India? And having served there as mission president and in the area presidency, I knew how hard it would be in a sense. It's a difficult place to build a Christian church. And I said, President, it will be challenging, but you've announced it and it will happen. And so during the early part of the day, that next morning, we went and we looked at different sites, potential sites. And then that evening, President Nelson stood in front of all the members in India. Some gathered in the largest hotel ballroom we could rent, and others watching from meeting houses throughout the country. And he said, you're probably interested in learning about the temple that I announced at conference. Of course, the members were so excited, just ecstatic that that was happening. And he said, let me tell you about that. I was planning to announce 6 temples, but on the eve of conference, the Lord instructed me to announce a temple in India. So I did. Let me tell you why I think that is significant in several ways, brothers and sisters. It illustrates that a prophet of God is willing and has the faith and courage to act on the promptings and direction he receives from our Savior, whose church this is. A site had not been identified. We did not have all the approvals in place, but the Lord had instructed his prophet to announce a temple in India, and so he did. Now, an interesting thing about all of that, because the groundbreaking has been held and a temple is under construction, and the site happens to be a site that when I was a new mission president in 2010, I was told we have approval to build a stake center and a service center, mission home, mission office on this piece of property. There's going to be a new metro line that will go in here, and we've already got all the approvals. It's unusual how fast that happened. And so we dedicated we broke the ground, had a prayer, and built a stake center. And one of the last things I did as mission president was to dedicate this new stake center. Well, for over a decade, we had the approvals we needed to build 2 buildings on that site. And so we tore down the stake center, we tore down the service center, and the house of the Lord is being built on that site, and behind it will be a new stake center and offices for the mission area, for the mission and other things. The Lord had prepared it more than a decade before the prophet announced it. But he didn't know that. I didn't even know that.